baseball fans across the world. My name is Simon, and I would like to welcome you to the Extra Innings podcast, where the MLB is the topic of discussion and opinions are at an all-time high. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the Spotify page with the links down below in the description. Now, let's play ball. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back to the Extra Innings podcast. Today, I will be continuing the series where I go through all 30 teams in the MLB and review their 2020 offseason and see whether they improved their team or not. Today, I have a guest on the show, special guest. We have Jesse to talk about his favorite team, the New York Mets, and to get his opinions on how their 2020 offseason went, and we'll see how it differs or compares to mine. So, Jesse, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on the show.
Appreciate you coming on. It means a lot to me. How, you just keeping safe now?
Yeah, for sure. I can work from home pretty easily, so I'm good with that. I'm at my parents' place, so they make me food. I'm pretty happy here. I have more space than I do at my dumbass apartment in cramped New York City almost. So, yeah, it's nice being out here.
100%. I agree with you. Living with your parents is definitely a plus sometimes.
Yeah, for now when I can't do anything. If I wanted to do stuff, I would.
100%. 100%. I agree. So before we start, I'm going to give you time. Take the stage. All your socials. If you have a podcast, throw it out there. All the links will also be in the description. You guys better check out Jesse's. Any of his socials that he gives me will all be in the description. So take the stage.
Yeah, sure. So I have a Twitter. I'm at ESSEJTHESL. It's the Bacon Games Fantasy Sports Twitter. I have a website, Bacon Games Fantasy Sports. I have a podcast, the Bacon Games podcast, or Bacon Games. Yeah, I think it's Bacon Games podcast. Yeah, that's what it is. And then I stream on Twitch sometimes, and all that stuff, just Bacon Games. If you type that in, I'm sure you'll find me.
Perfect. So once again, all those links in the description. Better check him out. I better see you guys go follow his podcast, follow all his Twitters, all of that. So we're gonna go quickly. We're gonna start off right away. We're gonna go over the Mets 2019 pretty much season, where they excelled, where they didn't excel. So their record in 2019 was 86-76 with a 48-33 record at Citi Field and a 38-43 record on the road. They were third in the NL East, and I'm going to give my take first, then we're going to hear Jesse's take on what he thought about the 2019 Mets. I think this team, on paper, should have made the playoffs. I think they should have. I don't know if they're better than the Braves, because I think the Braves are just such a young team with so much talent, but I think the Mets are young also. Maybe the Braves have some more electric players, but the NL East should have been so much closer than it was. The Mets should have definitely been the number 2 team and a wild card 1 team, and their offense carried them throughout the entire season, but their bullpen was just absolutely hard. You look at their bullpen on paper, you guys got Edwin Diaz, you got guys, like Jeurys Familia, Seth Lugo, who had a breakout year, Robert Gsellman, who I'm actually a fan of. Most people are not, but I am. This bullpen looks like a top 10 bullpen, even top 5 bullpen on paper, and then you go into the season, you just see Edwin Diaz blow a game after a game after a game after a game. I don't know how you can win games like that if their bullpen continues like that. So that's, I think, their biggest downfall in 2019. Their offense was really carried by Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, guys like that. I need more consistency out of their offense, especially when DeGrom is on the mound. I feel like they'll give 6 runs of support to guys like Steven Matz and Noah Syndergaard and guys like that. But when the second DeGrom goes on the mound and throws an 8-inning gem, giving up 1 run, they don't score a run. I feel bad for DeGrom sometimes, and I just think he needs more run support. But this team, even in 2020, however long we play, if we play, should be a playoff team.
The only thing I really feel like with the Mets in the playoffs in 2020 is the division is really crowded. I think the Braves are probably a better team. I think the Mets are probably the second best team in the division, but I'm not counting out the Phillies. I'm not counting out the Nationals, although I do think they're the 4th best team in the league, or in the division, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I liked what the Mets did last year. Their offense came alive. They had 2 young studs in Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil. So I'm was pretty big fans of those guys. Amon Rosario also, he was a little bit overshadowed by the emergence of McNeil and Alonso, but he's been a consistent player for the past 2 years, and he's really young. Steal a bunch of bases. He plays really good defense. That was his calling card in the minors. So I like where the team's going in the direction of their offense at least. They got I think all of their hitters except for Robinson Cano, and Yoenis Cespedes if he plays or whatever, or if he comes back to form, are like under 30. So I'm pretty happy with like the core unit. Wilson Ramos might be 31, but that's fine. They've got like a pretty young core though that we can go forward with, who are mashers, except for McNeil. But McNeil had like a 40 like batting average last year, so pretty happy with that. They also have like pretty good bench bats. JD Davis, I think he had something like 20 home runs, and he played, I want to say, yeah, all right. He had 27 home runs and he had 575 at bats. So he played like all over the place, and he started a decent amount when we had a lot of injuries because the Mets always have a bunch of injuries, and it doesn't matter if they change their um their training staff. It still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they change their training staff. It's happened for like the past 5 years. You just can't. You gotta live with it as a Mets fan. But yeah, I mean, I like the bullpen. I'm sorry, we can get into that when we talk about this year, but the bullpen was really crap last year, and yeah, I mean, I thought they were gonna make the playoffs, but they've done this the past 2 years where they start out like okay, and then the middle of the season is pretty horrendous, and then they pick it up towards the end. And that's pretty much what happened. The Mets were, God, I'm looking like halfway through the season. Yeah, they were like 38 and like 48, or yeah, 39, 48, 40 and 50 at the middle of the season, and they ended up with like a winning record. So, the first half is really tough, and it's been tough the past 2 years. And they just kind of put it together, and then eventually we don't get there. But finishing the year strong was nice. Like I said, I like the young core. The bullpen was pretty bad, but I think it'll be better this year. And the starting pitching is usually pretty good. Well, we'll see how that works out this year, though. We can talk about that later, I think. But you're right when you say the bullpen was the worst part for sure, and that definitely led to them not being a playoff team, even though they were so close.
And one thing I just want to point out, J.D. Davis, I think, is gonna break out this year, or next year.
Continue to break out? Yeah.
Continue, like if he continues to get the number of at bats that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has the capability to match Pete Alonso's power, because I don't know if anybody really has that.
Mm-hmm.
But he really mashes a baseball. Like you see him hit, it's a beautiful sight to watch.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to ask you about before we jump into the moves for 2020 offseason. Obviously, their home record being 15 games above 500 is huge, but how do you see that? Like, I think a baseball team to be like an elite team should have to be at least at 500 or above on the road, and they were 5 games below. And I know that they play in some tough, like that NL East is tough to play in. You go to SunTrust, you go to Citizens Bank, you go to Nationals Park. They're not easy ballparks to play against, especially when you're playing guys who know their home field. And like seeing 15 games above 500 on home is something amazing. Like that really means that the Mets know exactly how to play Citi Field. They know every nook and crevice of each corner in the outfield. They know how to play every ball off the wall. Pitchers know exactly like during different times of the year, they know how to pitch, different pitches they should use. But I want that road record to come up to at least 500.
Yeah, I don't really put too much stock into like home and road splits. But like we were talking about before, I think before the show even, the Mets pitch in they play in a fairly pitcher friendly ballpark. I think that's pretty well known, and with baseball dimensions, that's actually home and away is kind of like a bigger deal than in other sports, especially like football, which is the other sport I follow. But yeah, so I would venture a guess that like the better pitching at home probably just helps, considering they have like pretty good pitching. Otherwise, I think they might be able to. I don't know. It's possible that they just do better there because they have better pitching, and that's the way that like the stadium works. And I'm unsure if that's real or not, but I mean the stadium's pretty big. It's in New York, right? I've been there a bunch. So maybe that's another factor. Like they have a bunch of like fairly well dedicated fans, even though we suffer year after year. But people still seem to show up, or at least they make enough money to have one of the biggest payrolls in baseball. So. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the home and away stuff is, but that would be my guess at least. I think.
Yeah, I got you. I always want to see a road, like, not that the only couple places that I really think home road splits are crucial is like Colorado.
Yeah, sure.
I expect Colorado to do really well at home, and when I did their episode, you really see like the drastic difference between home and road when it comes to like being away from Coors Field versus being at home.
Oh
Citi
yeah.
Field, yeah, it's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, so going to a hitter-friendly ballpark should be even better for them. That's why I think their road record should be a little higher because they play in such a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and their hitters still mash at home.
Yes.
I think they should even hit even better when they go to fields like Coors Field and places like the Subway Series when they play in Yankee Stadium. That is the biggest hitter-friendly ballpark in all of baseball. I think it's a minor league field in my opinion, but that's just mine. I hate
No,
that.
I share your opinion.
Hate
I share
that
your
field. I
yeah.
absolutely hate it. So we'll
No.
jump into the first 2020 offseason move. So I go through arbitration first, and then we go through like free agent signings and like the one trade that the Mets did.
Mm-hmm.
First, we have Brad Brock signing a 1-year arbitration with a club option for 2021. His 2019 stats: he pitched to a 5.47 ERA in 54 and 1/3 innings pitched. He had 60 strikeouts, a 1.62 WHIP. His strikeouts per 9 were 9.2. His home runs per 9 was 0.6, which is phenomenal, and he's entering his age 34 season. So my opinion on this, why not bring him back? You know, the guy has a funky delivery. He strikes out, and 9.2 strikeouts per 9 is beautiful. His whip is a little high. I like to see a whip under 1.3. 1.6 is a little high, especially, but relievers tend to have higher ERAs and whips. That's just how it is. But he gave up 1 home run in the entire 54 and 1/3 innings pitched. You bring him back for a 1-year deal. He's entering his age 34 season. I don't know how many years he has left on in his career. Mm-hmm. If he can bring the ERA down to a sub 5, sub 4.5, why not bring? He's a good long reliever. You know, righty specialist. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much me. You can never have enough pitching depth, especially in the bullpen. So there's no reason not to sign a guy who, admittedly, has had is possibly going to the sunset of his career. And he's 34. He hasn't played as well as he used to play in Baltimore. But I mean, I'm willing to take on almost anything, especially when our bullpen was so bad last year. I'm very interested in keeping guys who can at least provide some sort of stability on the roster. So I like older guys in the bullpen for sure.
So next is another arbitration offer. I'm going to let you speak on this one first because I know it's one of your favorite players. Michael Conforto. His 2019 stats, 257 batting average, a 363 on base, a 494 slugging with an 856 OPS, 33 home runs, 92 RBIs. He was a 3.4 win player, and he's only entering his age 27 season.
Yeah, I love Conforto. We shouldn't let him go. I don't think there's any question about that. Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where this is going to be his best production. He's like a 30 home run hitter for sure. I just like to see the average come up. I'd like him to be like a 270 hitter because I think a lot of guys like Alonso played out of his shoes last year. I think his average is going to come down for sure. But Conforto I always thought was like a high average, high home run guy. Like if we look back at his 2017 season, excuse me, that was something that I thought he could do. His slugging percentage was, 555. I don't necessarily expect that. But is somewhere in that range with like a higher batting average is what I'd like for him to get to. Like you said, he's 27, so this is going to be the best part of his career, right? This is it.
This is the peak.
Yeah, this is the peak. I'm hoping he can be better. I know he was good, and I'm happy with him. I don't want him to go anywhere, but I still expect bigger and better things out of him for sure.
And one thing I like to talk about with outfielders, especially, is their defense. So what do you feel? Does Conforto have it on the defensive side?
I feel like he's okay at defense.
Because if you look at his defensive runs saved and all that, he's about an average fielder. But I think the eye test, he has a good arm.
He does it. That's the thing. He does have a good arm. I think as he gets older, his fielding ability will be drastically impacted because I didn't think he was a very good fielder when he was young and when he was first playing with the Mets. Anyway, he did have a good arm. He still has a good arm. But yeah, I mean, I think eventually he'll be one of those slower guys in left field or right field. You just stick him there and then hopefully no one hits it to him.
I think right field will probably be the spot for Conforto as his age climbs.
Mm-hmm.
I just think right field, you can put guys like, when the Cardinals put Marcelo Zuna out there, you can put guys like that.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
But what I would like to see from Conforto, the guy's like really mashing the baseball. You get that average to 275 or above, and he's an all-star hitter year in and year out.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be a 3.4 win player at the age of 27, and if you can consistently do that, and if you continue being an all-star, later down the line, maybe win a championship, you might be talking about Conforto making the Hall of Fame. Not a first ballot probably, but he's on the ballot for a long time. I can see it, especially with how young he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not ready to be there yet, for sure. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, please let that happen. Please.
I just think at
But
the
yeah.
young age that he is, like 27 in baseball, like
Hmm.
27 in like football, let's say he's not so young, but in baseball, it's like
Right.
you're entering your prime. You
Hmm.
have 3 to 4 really solid years of just consistently being at your peak, like physical condition and like sports condition wise.
Hmm.
If he brings that average up, he has 4 good years. I think even better than what he did in 2019.
Hmm.
So I think the Mets, after once he's done with arbitration and renewable contracts, you give him like a 3 to 4 year contract,
Hmm.
or you lock him up now. Like that's the two options. I would do this. I would do the first one by letting him go through arbitration and then sign him. But I
Hmm.
could see the Mets, because they need to lock up a lot of young guys, because they have so many young guys to lock up, like Pete Alonso, like J.D. Davis,
Yeah.
like Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil's not so young, but
Hmm.
they still like. I think you maybe lock him up now, in like if the Mets in the Mets GM's mind. But
Hmm.
we'll see what happens. But again, arbitration, you have to do it. You have to pull the trigger. Mike Conforto's a beast. I think it's clear
Yeah,
as day.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, yeah, you can't let him go. I don't think so. At least, I mean, they do have a deep team, like I said. But yeah, there's no reason to not bring him back on whatever arbitration they settled at. Like that's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was under $2 million. You got to bring him
Mhm.
back on that price. So
Yeah,
next
absolutely.
move is it's gonna be controversial because my thoughts on the move might be different than yours,
Hmm.
but it's the Noah Syndergaard arbitration. Obviously, you have to sign him. It's not. It's not. The move itself is not. Debatable. You sign him arbitration wise. My thought is you should have traded him to the Padres at the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, I mean, I would have called you crazy back then. To be fair, but I don't know. In Syndergaard's 27. He did not have a good year last year. They were talking about how he was working on his slider so he doesn't like hurt himself again. And that was like the big thing, like the Dan Worthen slider. I think it was
Yeah.
was like the really good pitch that all the Mets players had, but it got them hurt a lot because of the weird way you throw it, or you throw it pretty hard. I think is the issue. I mean, Syndergaard's a great thrower. He's got great stuff. He just it didn't come together last year, even though he pitched almost 200 innings. That was a bad sign. But again, like you said, he's 27. Although now we're ignoring the Tommy John that he
Yeah.
went through. So I mean, we'll see. He's not going to pitch this year, and hopefully he'll be back for I don't even know because
I
Tommy
would
John
say I
can
would
be 12
say
months plus,
I
right?
would say
Like
yeah, 12 to 14 months is the
right. So
normal rehab. I would
mhm.
say your target is like maybe May of 2021.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, definitely something like that. It really sucks, but I mean, there's no that's a moot point, right? Talking about that anymore. To be fair, but yeah, I mean, Syndergaard's part of the core. The core three that we used to have with the Dark Knight. Although
Yeah.
we don't say his name around here anymore. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it feels like we're holding on to him mostly because of name value. At points, so like maybe he could have gotten something in trade because of his name value, but I'm still happy to have Syndergaard on the team. The rest of the pitching staff is, I guess we'll get into like the guys that they signed are older and definitely nowhere near as good in terms of stuff they have. So
100%.
yeah, I'd rather have pitching is really important to me for constructing a baseball team. I think it's one of the most important things, and starting pitching, that is so important because they pitch most of the time. Um, most of the games they pitch 6 innings plus, right? So
You try to
I
get
find
that. You
them
try
to
to get that quality
yeah.
started.
Yeah, I 100% think pitching is the most important. So even holding on to a guy like Syndergaard, even overpaying for a guy like Syndergaard, I would be on board because I think it's the most important position on a team.
So that take paying Syndergaard. My problem with that is no one knows because every pitcher, every player reacts differently to coming back from a Tommy John. He
Hmm.
can come back and still be absolutely nasty,
Yeah,
or he can
yeah.
come back and just be a shell of his former self.
Hmm.
No one knows. So right now, let's say without knowing, let's say the Mets had to make a decision. Are you paying Syndergaard? Let's say this wasn't an arbitration. Let's say it was 2 years down the line instead, where his arbitration and renewable contract is over,
Yep.
and you have to pay him or let him walk, with Tommy John still being on the table. Are you
Yeah.
paying him?
Yeah, I'm gonna pay guys. Is the salary cap isn't real? Like there literally is no salary cap.
It's not.
So like
It's
yeah,
not.
like the luxury tax is whatever, dude. You're in New York. You're in a pretty big market. You can't let guys go. We brought Syndergaard over from the R.A. Dickey deal, which was one of the best deals
Yeah,
I've
oh
ever seen
my,
a sports
yeah.
franchise make in the entire history of sports franchises. Holy shit, they fleeced Toronto.
Yeah,
Um,
Toronto had no idea what they were
yeah,
doing.
yeah, and we did it again this year, right, or last year, right? So, no, but yeah, I'm paying him. I don't want to say pay him whatever he wants, but signing a deal like DeGrom, I mean, for the length at least, like a 4 to 5 year deal is something I would very highly consider for Syndergaard. I mean, even like 20 year, like fuck it, like go for it, like absolutely do it. He's our second best pitcher on the roster. Didn't pan out nearly as well as we thought he would. He's still a fine pitcher. Wheeler got a pretty big contract too when he left to go to
I think that's why they
mhm.
didn't bring him back.
Who brought Wheeler back?
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'd rather pay Syndergaard than Wheeler if that's what we're
exactly.
doing, and I think that's what the office thought. Yeah, Syndergaard in a heartbeat. His stuff is way better. And it's fucking I like Syndergaard, and we're gonna talk a little bit about consistency. I think, or we talked a little bit about before, but Zach Wheeler was the opposite of consistent, and that bothered me to no end.
Can't agree with that more. The guy
Yeah.
guy either threw lasers or beach balls at batters. So I mean,
Yeah.
you never really knew what you were getting with him.
Hmm.
The only reason I'm hesitant on paying Syndergaard is obviously Tommy John. I know it's it's been talked about all offseason when it comes to the Mets, so
Hmm.
I'm not gonna keep bringing it up. But it is still something that you have to keep in the back of your mind because no one really knows how he's gonna pan out. Obviously, you want the best for him
Hmm.
because he has the capability and ability alone to be one of the top tier starting pitchers in all of baseball. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can argue that. He had a rough 2019, but if you look at his past years, it's consistent. Yeah, he's been hurt here and there, but when he's on the field, he's consistent.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his stuff is
Mhm.
absolutely nasty.
Yep.
His fastball hits
Absolutely.
100 miles per hour. His off speed is it. I don't know how bad. It's not fair to be a batter in that box against Noah Syndergaard. So
Yeah, I couldn't do
I
it.
would pay him also. I would give him the money,
Hmm.
but I'm still gonna hold my stance that he should have been traded last year to San Diego to get a package back because I know the package from San Diego might have included Mackenzie Gore.
Hmm.
And getting a guy like that,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
I don't know if you could pass that up.
I mean that's fair. Prospects are pretty tricky, but I totally get it when you like a prospect a lot, and when he comes highly rated, like there's very obvious interest in that kind of stuff. But I'm still happy with like a finished product, no matter what we're
Of
talking
course,
about, no matter what
that's
sport.
the
Yeah, yeah, and especially when there's no salary cap and nothing, you can pay these guys pretty much whatever you want. Especially in New York market,
yeah,
I'm
they're
pretty okay
never
with holding on to guys.
MLB
Yeah.
is never gonna figure out the salary cap.
I hate that so much, but yeah,
It's like
they're
that's
they're
why the
not.
Dodgers are able to do what they do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean, that's why the Yankees in the like early 2000s were, so dominant and stuff. It bothers me to no end,
yeah,
but
it's just
that's
because
the sport we're
it's
in.
like it's like draft picks don't matter. I mean, not that they don't matter. Like if you have the first overall
Hmm.
pick, you pick Adley Rutschman last year.
Hmm.
That matters, but to take away a first round
Hmm.
pick to a team that's already good, it's in the bottom half of the. It doesn't matter to take a draft pick away. It doesn't. What are you finding them? They have so much money. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know how to fix the cap in baseball. I don't think it can ever be fixed, just because
Yeah.
of how
Mhm.
unimportant the draft is.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd like to like bitch and moan about how I hate the cap, yeah, I totally agree. I don't know how you do it. Like now, once the cat's out of the bag, right? It's pretty hard to put it back in. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think that's the issue.
So that's the Noah Syndergaard arbitration. Next, we have another one of their starting pitchers. I would probably say with Syndergaard, their third best starting pitcher. Without Syndergaard, their second best starting pitcher in Marcus Stroman. In 2019, he pitched to a 10-13 record with a 3.22 ERA in 184 and a third innings pitched with a 1.30 WHIP, 159 strikeouts, and he was a 4.3 win player. I am absolutely in love with Marcus Stroman. I was so annoyed when the Cardinals didn't pick him up. I really thought a trade. Trade deadline. That day I was working at Citi Field,
Mm.
and you get all the rumors on the phone. You're following every like John Heyman and guys like
Yeah.
I can't even think of his name right now. On Twitter, you're watching, you're looking at all their tweets, and Incarcerated Bob, that guy gets my hopes up so much, especially with the Nolan Arenado trade. But I saw Cardinals have trade in place for Marcus Stroman. I'm like, yes, let's do it. Then you get the MLB notification, Mets trade for Marcus Stroman. What? Like they weren't even in talks, and they get Marcus Stroman. But the Mets got a steal. but they didn't give anybody up. I'm sorry, Toronto.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah, I mean,
I like
yeah.
Toronto, but you gave him up for free. I don't know what else to say.
Mhm.
Mets literally stole him from you guys, and he pitched I would say pretty well in City Field. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to have Stroman on the team for sure, especially when losing Zach Wheeler is pretty tough. Um, the Mets pitching had been their strength or so their starting pitching at least had been their strength for so long, and it seems to be a little bit waning now. But yeah, I am very happy that we have Stroman and we're deciding to keep him. The year before he had a pretty not great year. He didn't pitch as much. I think he had like 20 starts the year before, something along that lines. Yeah, it looks like 20 starts, only 102 innings. Um, and he wasn't great. So I'm hoping that last year was his true form, and he had been good in years past, So I'm holding out hope that that's the that the issues are behind him, and that going forward he'll be a lot better, like he was last year. But he is like a fan favorite. He's 28 years old, and I'm happy to have him here. We need starting pitching, especially now that Syndergaard's hurt. Wherever we start the year, we'll need guys like Stroman, and I'm happy to have him for sure.
100%. Stroman, in my opinion, always have been like that electric pitcher. I like pitchers who show emotion. That's why I really love Amir Garrett.
Uh-huh.
I hate the Reds with a passion, but
Yeah,
I
I can imagine.
love Amir Garrett.
Mhm.
He just had. You're playing a children's sport at the age of 20, 25 plus.
Mhm.
Show passion. Show that you're enjoying what you're doing. You literally are getting the chance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And Stroman shows that, like a
Mhm.
lot of it. So I'm a
Right.
huge fan of Stroman. But
Yeah, I like
again,
him a lot.
I know I keep bringing this up, but salary cap. Let's say salary cap did matter, and you
Huh?
had to. Let's say salary cap, you know,
Mhm.
was real
Yeah.
in a sense.
Mhm.
And you can lock up two out of. Are you locking up Stroman or Syndergaard? They're pretty
Syndergaard.
much the same age.
I'm locking up Syndergaard.
See, I would lock up Stroman because Stroman doesn't have that you know, something weighing over his shoulder like
Mhm.
Tommy John. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
that
would
is an
personally lock
issue.
up Stroman just because I know he can be consistent. He pitched well in Toronto, and I hate
Mhm.
that stadium. I'm sure pitchers do also.
Yeah.
He's back in a pitcher-friendly ballpark.
Mhm.
I would just pick Stroman, but I
Yeah.
see where you can. Syndergaard is just if
Yeah,
he's at
Syndergaard
his.
stuff blows me away. His slider's so good. I yeah, he blows me away. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't think Stroman's a bad pitcher at all. And I feel like I might have come off like that. I like Stroman a lot. He's a great three for us. He could be a really good two. Um, but yeah, I think Syndergaard. It might be I might be buying into name value more than I should, but when Syndergaard's on, he's untouchable. And if we're making a playoff run with a really good offense, I'd rather have a guy like Syndergaard in like a final game than Stroman. I think
I hear
just
you
for
on
one
that.
game. So
I
yeah.
think just one problem with Stroman in Toronto, just like a quick point.
Hmm.
I don't think he's a number one. I don't. I think he's a very very strong number two. I
Hmm.
don't know if he's the strongest number one, and I think that role that he had to take in Toronto to be a leader of a rotation at such a young age.
Hmm.
I know DeGrom did it, so it's like it is possible,
Right.
but I don't know if maybe that's not his. He looks like a leader, but I don't know
Hmm.
if that's maybe his skill set to the fullest extent. So maybe that was a little issue in Toronto, but I am a fan. I think with the salary cap being the way it is, you just lock him up.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Next, I'm sure this is your favorite player on the team. We're going to talk about Edwin Diaz signing to a 1-year arbitration with I'm pretty sure it was a club option for 2021. I don't have it here, but I'm pretty sure. It's 2019 stats. I'll read them to you, and then you could give your
Do you have to read them to me? Are you
give
sure?
your
Are you
take.
sure you have to read them? I don't
I'm
wanna.
sure you've seen them over and over again.
Oh
But
God!
pitched to a
Alright, give 'em to me.
5.59 ERA with a 1.37 WHIP in 58 innings. He did strike out 99 batters, so
Yeah.
that's a positive.
Uh,
With 29 saves, and he was a negative .5 win above replacement player at the age of 26. Take the stage.
Yeah, look, we can't sugarcoat it. Edwin Diaz was really bad last year. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's no way to do it. So I couldn't even do it if I tried. But, I am still. I know we gave up a pretty big prospect in Jared Kelenic to get him and to take on Cano's contract, which I still think we have like 3 years left on. And he's like 38 years old.
That's
Like
gonna be
it's
the
so
Bobby
dumb.
Bonilla of the Mets again.
Nothing's Bobby Bonilla, but yeah, it's gonna get close. Yeah, totally. I believe Diaz is gonna come back. If you look at his career stats, he and I know this is like kind of like a weird way to look at it, but he had a really good 2016. A worse 2017. He had an amazing 2018, one of the best relievers in baseball, if not the best reliever in baseball in 2018, and then he was really bad in 2019. He seems to ebb and flow like I think most players in baseball really do. I'm expecting total resurgence next year. I'm expecting a sub-3 ERA. I think he can do it. Like you said, he struck out 99 batters. The stuff is still there. He just got into some really bad situations, and this team did not handle it well, and I don't think he handled it well. But sometimes guys coming to the Mets, like if you remember Roberto Alomar when he came to the Mets in like the early 2000s, sometimes it takes a little bit to adjust to the city, life, and that's what I'm gonna put it down for Edwin because I'm not done. He's 26 years old, he's younger than me, so I'm ready to give him another shot, and I'm happy to have him. I'm very happy to have him still.
It's funny sometimes like there's always been this. I don't know if it's like a known thing, but something that I've noticed is anytime a player comes to the Mets, they suck.
Yeah,
and then they'll leave the Mets and they'll have a resurgence like a Jay Bruce or Jason Bay, if you remember Jason Bay.
Oh god, Jason Bay is the worst, dude. That guy was so, and I like Jason Bay. I liked him a lot before coming to the Mets. I was so amped for that signing, and oh my god,
he was so great
bad.
before coming. He had a rough, was it a season or two with the Mets?
Yeah,
and then moved to Seattle and had a good year. It just
it
just happens that anytime, like I hope it doesn't happen to Edwin Diaz because again, I agree with you that I expect him to have a sub-3. I expect him to be around the 2.7, 2.5 ERA next year. I expect him to strike out. I expect him to pitch more than 58 innings.
Right.
For him to be around 70 innings.
Yes.
I expect him to strike out around even 100 strikeouts in 70 innings is great, but I expect him to up that to around 110, 120. Whip, I expect to go down to a sub 1.3, 1.25. Saves has to go up. He needs more than 29.
There will be opportunities.
I expect him, with the way they hit the baseball. I assume so. I expect it to be around 40. I would hope it's around 40. And I expect his WAR obviously to be positive next year. Somewhere around a 2 to 3 win player, which is great for a closer. So I expect him to have a resurgence. I really hope he does because he has the stuff. His slider is I think his slider might be one of the best sliders in all of baseball. It's just it's honestly unhittable.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. I also think that if he struggles coming off the bat, we have guys to replace him in Betances and Lugo.
Oh,
so it doesn't need to all be on his shoulders. If guys get in their head, it's definitely possible that happened with him last year. We can always move him to like a setup guy or a reliever and then get him back in the closer role when he's ready again. So we have a deep enough bullpen for that.
I don't know if Callaway put him in the best positions.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Callaway.
Neither, I'm not either. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Luis Rojas either.
I don't even know. I mean, I wanted Beltran.
I think Beltran would have been the best pick for them, but you know what happened with the whole thing. Sucks.
Yeah,
unfortunate. But I expect Edwin to come back, and I expect him to be the closer that he was in Seattle. That 49 save year. 49 was it something around that 49?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. He was one of the best closers in baseball.
Exactly. I think, in my opinion, that year, best closer in baseball. Last year, Josh. I'd give it to Josh Hader.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Hader has been consistently. Even when he was in like the setup role, I remember having him on a fantasy team, and he was just lights out. Like in terms of like all of the counting stats and the ratio stats. Oh my god, he was a monster. And pitching like 100 innings. Like I feel like he pitched 100 innings in like the past like 3 years. Like he throws a lot.
He's unreal. He comes into the 8th. He's a 2-inning closer in my opinion. Like I like to call him a 2-inning closer.
Yeah.
He comes
like
in.
You're not
gonna.
That's what reminds me.
If you get a hit. Congrats, but it's so few and far between. His hits per 9, I think, is a sub 1. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been unreal.
Next move, Steven Matz, starting pitcher. Arbitration move. I'm pretty sure it's a club option for 2021 with most of these arbitration moves. But the club option is another arbitration year, so whatever you want to call it. 2019, he was 11-10 with a 4.21 ERA. In 160 and a third innings pitched with 153 strikeouts. His WHIP was a 1.34, and he was a 2.5 win above replacement player and he's entering his age 28 season.
Right.
I like Steven Matz. He's not consistent, but I think he fits being in New York, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. It feels like Matz has been in the league for like 10,000 years.
It really has.
Him and Wheeler are alike, but yeah, like you said, they're only 28. Or 27 respectively. Matz is a fine, 3-4 guy. I honestly think he's fine. We could do better. Teams can do better. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he throws a lot of innings. And he's not great, but I'm fine with having him here as like a fourth guy. That's totally fine. If he has to be three, that's okay. I'm not happy about it, but again, I think with our offense, I'm less concerned with him. I'm not sure how much the arbitration was, but the Mets can afford it, so keeping him on is fine. We didn't have another guy, and Mets pitchers have a habit of getting hurt, so good thing we had extra.
It's just
extra guys.
look. He will be the number 3 this year, probably number 4 with Syndergaard.
Yeah.
But number 3 this year, look, it's an above average number 3 pitcher when it comes to rotations in the league. It's on the upper end. He's definitely a very serviceable baseball player.
That's what I would say. Yeah, serviceable. He's like probably a little bit maybe below, maybe above average. He's close. I call him average.
But he's what you want. Look, you put him out every 5th day. He's third guy in the rotation. At most times he will do what he has to do to keep the team in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he does require more run support than pitchers like DeGrom and Syndergaard and Stroman.
DeGrom requires some kind of run support. That's the only thing.
I think DeGrom needs any
he
run.
Needs some kind of run support.
Give him 2 runs. He'll win you majority of the games.
Yeah.
Give him 2. Yeah. Sometimes you only need to give him 1. And the Mets sometimes can't even do that.
Yes, that has happened before. I went to a game on Father's Day, I think it was 2 years ago, and he hit a home run, and that was the only run they scored, and they won the game. So, yeah, that shit happens.
DeGrom does it all.
Bad. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, looking at like Matt's like advanced metrics, he's pretty much like in the middle on most things. I wish his barrel percentage was worse or better, lower. But still, he's about average.
He's fine. He's a fine number 3 pitcher.
Yeah, we could do better. Teams with playoff aspirations should do better, but yeah.
Do you think Wheeler is better than Steven Matz?
Yeah, I think so.
I do also.
Yeah.
And we'll get to we'll get to at the end, or we can do it now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the thing though is like I don't want to pay either of them. So
that's
if you have to pay Wheeler a bunch, I'm probably not going to pay either of them that much.
With how much Wheeler got, we know how much he got. It was around. I'm not quite sure on the stat, but it was up there. It's like number 2 starting pitcher type of money for a number 3, number 4 pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with the cap being non-existent? Should the Mets have either tried to? Because I think he would have stayed in New York for a little less money to stay with the organization.
It's possible. Yeah.
Do you think the Mets should have matched it? Not match, but give a competitive offer.
I feel like they were trying to get some kind of offer, but they weren't willing to go too high. As high as the Phillies went, I would believe. The Mets have some pretty bad like stuff on the books. Like Cespedes' contract is still in the books. I mean, they took on the freaking Cano contract. So like I get trying to cut costs. And we don't really like ownership as Mets fans. The Wilpons lost a lot of money in the Madoff scheme.
Sell the team.
Yeah, they need to sell the team for sure. But I mean, they're one of like the least, I think, wealthy owners in like a major market. I think they must be the least wealthy.
Probably
in a major market.
Yeah, especially where they are.
Yeah, exactly. I remember looking. I think they're like valued at like $200 million, and like I was looking at like Boston's,
which by the way is. Absurd amount of money.
Yeah. I think they're each like split down the middle, like $100 million each. But yeah, no. I mean, compared to like an owner like Boston, I think the guy is like worth like $1 billion or valued at $1 billion. He owns like 2 other like clubs or whatever.
I'm pretty sure he's a part owner with the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
And
I think they own an English Premier
something
team.
Like that.
A president of an English Premier team. Yeah, I remember looking that up a bit ago. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't pay Wheeler. He had a really inspired season last year, and he was coming off a really good year in 2018 too. But I am worried him and Matz can go sour pretty fast.
I think the Mets might have done. I personally would not have paid him, not the money he got. Yeah. I think the Mets dodged the bullet. I think the Phillies jumped on how solid of a year he had last year, and I think teams tend to do that a lot.
The Phillies had a lot of questions too at starting pitching. I think last year, like they had a lot of young guys who I think could be good or were good at like points, like Eflin. Guys like that. It's entirely possible that they wanted some more stability. In the past 2 years, Wheeler has been good enough. I'm not sure if that's the real Wheeler or what the real Wheeler is. He's 29 years old, so maybe it is. But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
So again, Personally, same with you.
Mhm.
Would not have paid Wheeler. I'll pay
Yeah,
Mats over
probably
Wheeler
not.
because I know
Probably
Mats will
not.
not generate the amount of money that Wheeler.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason you would, and I would
Exactly.
probably agree. You know, if you're paying them the same, then like yeah, we're taking Wheeler.
Exactly.
But I mean that's not even like I think that's closer than most people would say, even looking at like their their regular stats.
Yeah. So next we got the breakout player. I think on the pitching side of things, in my opinion, for the
Mhm.
Mets last year, in Seth Lugo signing him to an arbitration with it. I think he actually has 2 more years of arbitration and 1 year of renewable contract.
Mhm.
2019, 2.7 ERA, 104 strikeouts, and 80 innings pitched with a .9 WHIP and a 2.4 win above replacement player at the age of 30. So he might only have 1 more year of arbitration.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Guy broke out, pitched amazing. I expect him to continue doing the same. He's one of the premier right now. He's one of the
Mhm.
premier setup slash closers, and he could close.
Yeah.
He had 7 saves last year.
Mhm.
He could close if he wants to. I don't
Mhm.
think he will be the closer.
Yeah, I like him as long relief better.
So do I.
Yeah.
But I think he's up there as one of the higher rated relievers in baseball, especially
Mhm.
right-handers.
Yeah, yeah, I mean he's a reliever. I do believe in like paying relievers to long-term deals. I know they do fluctuate a lot like year to year. It can be tough. But yeah, I mean like you mentioned before, the .9 whip is beautiful. And the year before he had a 1.08, which is
Beautiful.
again very very good. Yeah, I mean I'm happy to keep him as long as possible. I think a strong bullpen is really important. He was one of the only bright spots last year. I mean, he's done it 2 years in a row too. Like 101 innings in 2018 and 80 innings last year. Yeah, that's a lot to work with for a reliever. So,
But I think 2018, one thing I'm going to talk about with Lugo, I think
Mhm.
in 2018, didn't he start a couple games?
Yeah, he started 5 games.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
I
a
think the
lot, but yeah.
move to the bullpen
Mhm.
is what I don't think Lugo was a starter. They tried to use it. But the
Yeah.
Mets in 2018, the Mets tried to use anybody as a fifth starter, just because they just got hurt so many times.
Yep. Yep.
I remember
I mean,
they had I'm gonna forget his name. They had like
uh,
4 different guys. It starts with a P, I'm pretty sure. They had like 4 different guys trying to start as their
sure.
number 5, but I think Lugo
Yeah.
move to the bullpen is huge, and I think that really helped his career
Mhm.
get back on track.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think he's here to stay, and I think the Mets should keep him. He's 30, but that's again in baseball not that old. He
Mhm.
could have like 4 to 5 really solid more years left as a reliever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean keep him around for as long
Were
as
you
you
thinking of
possibly can.
Vargas?
Oh
'Cause I
no,
remember.
Vargas is just
Yeah.
no one
I
wants to
fucking
talk
hate
about. But
Vargas.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
wants to talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Vargas.
Yeah.
I really forgot his name, but
No, that's fine. I mean, they did try a bunch of people. I think there was a guy Oswald too.
oh
Does
yeah,
that
that
ring a
was
bell?
was that Chris Oswald?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to say Roy Oswald.
No,
But
definitely not.
that's what I thought of whenever he came up on like the statue. I was like, oh, we got Oswald today. We're gonna win. It's easy.
But yeah, I mean, I think Lugo's here to stay, and I think he should stay.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
full reins on the next move because
hit me.
I'm biased because I'm a Cardinal fan. So
Oh, it's true.
the Michael Walker free agency signing in 2019 pitched to a 6-7 win loss ratio, a 4.76 ERA, 104 strikeouts and 126 and 2/3 innings with a 1.56 WHIP, and he was a .1 win above replacement player at the age of 28. Take it away.
Mhm. Yeah, look, Waka and Porcello were both signings that I think the Mets brought in because they had to use so many players in 2018, 2019 to be starters. I think either of them could fit in nicely in the bullpen as long relief. I think that's what they're there for. But with the injury to Syndergaard, they're both gonna have to start. Like you said, Waka's 28. I remember hearing good things about him when he was on the Cardinals. Um, I don't have strong opinions on him because I thought he was going to be like a reliever, so I didn't pay as much attention to him as I paid attention to Porcello, going into this year at least. But we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't say that I'm in love with him though, if that helps.
Yeah, 100%. And the pitcher I was actually thinking of was Chris Flexen. I know he started a couple games for the Mets.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there were so many guys they brought up and sent down. I don't even know.
It was the 3 guys I was thinking of was Chris Flexen, Paul Sewald, and it was Corey Oswald
That's who it
that
is.
got a
Yep,
couple
yep,
starts for them.
yep.
But since I watched every single Cardinal game, I got to watch every single Michael Wacha appearance. I think he's better than his stats show. I think again, I'm a big advocate for Mike Shildt as the Cardinals manager, but I think he used Michael Wacha extremely wrong.
Okay.
Michael Wacha cannot be put into pressure situations. You can't put him in with runners on base. He gets very flustered, which is not obviously the greatest thing in the world. But if you start him out in the 7th inning, chances are he'll get you through that inning without giving up a run.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you need him for a righty on righty, he can do that. As long as it's not a high pressure situation where the game is on the line, Wacha's there. He performs, but once the pressure gets to him, in the beginning of his career this didn't happen, but later on, it's just he tends to crumble under the pressure a little bit, which is and I don't know how he's gonna react with the Mets and New York. Pitching where you have to pitch. It's a thing. It really is.
It really is.
But I hope for the best. Again, you didn't pay him a lot of money. It's a good signing. I think you paid him.
It's not much.
Something. It's nothing. Okay, yeah. And I know Porcello was rumored to have beaten out Wacha when it comes to spring training as the 5th starter, but now with the season moving on, who's going to start? I don't know. I think it should be Porcello because I don't know if Wacha is the starting pitcher anymore. I think he's a better, front end of the bullpen, long reliever type role.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I mean, I like him as a long reliever too, and I don't think he can have enough good arms in the bullpen, so I'm totally into that. Yeah, that's really important, I think, to me. So, yeah.
So next, the other older free agent that they signed, a starting pitcher.
I mean, not super old, but
Rick Porcello in 2019, he pitched to a 14-12 record with a 5.52 ERA, with 143 strikeouts and 174 and a third innings pitched, with a 1.39 WHIP, and he was a 1.1 win above replacement player entering his age 31 season. I like it. I mean, you paid him nothing. He had an okay year in Boston. He won games, which is important.
Yeah, I think he had like 15 wins, right?
14
wins, yeah.
His ERA is gonna go down. It's gonna go down. He's going from Boston, which Boston is not the biggest hitter-friendly ballpark, but I think Citi Field might be even a more pitcher-friendly ballpark when it comes to just how far that right field fence is with that little indent that they made for some reason. Even after bringing in the fences in, it's still far away. 174 and a third innings pitched. That's what you want to see. That's if he can consistently do that at the age of 31, give you around, I think it was, if he pitched 174, probably 30 starts. Why not? The whip 1.39 for a 31-year-old fifth pitcher in the rotation. Yeah, it's good. Obviously, I want my starting pitchers 1 through 3 to have a sub 1.2 whip, but for 4 and 5 to have a sub 1.4, striking out 143 batters, bringing that ERA down to a sub 4.5, I'll take it. 5th starter. He gets the job done.
Yeah, he's an innings eater for sure. That's, I think, the biggest reason. And I think the lowest, I'm looking at the stats right now, the lowest innings he's had was in, I think, 2009, and it was 170 innings. He's pitched like 170 something multiple times. He had like 200 not that long ago. So I think he's just an innings eater for the most part. And the Mets need that guy. They need guys like that, especially now that we know that Syndergaard's hurt. A lot of this comes back to that. But yeah, it's pretty important that we have guys like that on the team. Looking at it, I feel like Wacha is probably a better pitcher. But Porcello's ERA is definitely going to come down. I totally would agree with that. I think he's a fine pitcher, but again, just an innings eater. We need those guys at the back.
So, did they do enough to replace Wheeler and
no,
the Tommy John surgery?
I'll
talk about that later when I give them the grade.
Yeah,
but I think they did a fine job. I think they did a fine job. I think they went out with like a list of things they needed. Their main thing was a 5th starter, a 4th starter, knowing that they probably weren't getting Wheeler back. Hey, look, they got 2 guys who can compete for the 5th spot, and they're not bad MLB players by any means.
Right.
They both have experience. They both have pitched in the playoffs. It's what you want out of your 5th starter.
Right.
Especially a Porcello. Forget about his stats. He can mentor some young guys like Steven Matz.
Yeah, sure.
Or I don't know about a Jacob deGrom. I don't know if deGrom's going to take advice from him, but but yeah, I think it's a great move.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of bringing back, like, in terms of getting, enough, or doing enough in the offseason, we didn't know Syndergaard was going to be like that. But yeah, I think they obviously couldn't replace Wheeler with the guys they got. But, bringing guys on short deals who are pro pitchers was probably fine. Like I think we talked about a little bit, the payroll is a lot, so I get cutting it a little bit, and having bargain deals for guys like Waka is really smart, I think.
Yeah, Walker was. If the Mets didn't sign him, I didn't know who was gonna. I thought he was gonna be a free agent this whole season.
Mm.
The way he lasted so long in free agency, I didn't see him signing.
Yeah, that seems to be a trend now, though. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
I think a guy who's trending that way is Yasiel Puig, and I think he should be signed.
Yeah,
I think he should already be signed.
I think there were rumors. Oh, I forget. He
got an offer from the Marlins, and he said no.
Oh, really? Yeah, I probably would say no too. Who would want to play that team? Oh my god, that must be so depressing to be on a team that is going to lose and like loses 100 games.
Look, I mean, he can realistically sit out 2020, get signed in the 2021 offseason to a nice contract, and there you go. I think he just doesn't want to get bound to a multi-year contract right now, especially on a bad team.
I get that. I totally get that. But I mean, if I was a player and all money's guaranteed pretty much, right? So like I take whatever I can get. True. That is true. Probably. That is true.
So last move. Okay, so we'll do I'll talk about quickly. They traded for Jake Marisnick. They gave up one prospect. Jake Marisnick will basically be a defensive replacement. Doesn't really have much in the bat. Mm-hmm. That's. I didn't include the move, but I just want to talk about it so someone doesn't say I missed anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake Marisnick came from Houston and is now in New York. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure JD Davis was also in Houston before. Yeah, he's just like another guy that they're bringing over. He's a defensive replacement. The outfield is pretty deep. I think our bench is pretty deep. But he kind of replaces Lagares now, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I just wanted to get it out there. Next move, the last move, in my opinion, the biggest move that the Mets did in the 2020 offseason was signing reliever Dellin Betances. What was it? Was it a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal?
Yeah, so looking it up before, it was a 1-year deal with a player option.
Okay. So
it's $10 million guaranteed, I think. So good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
In he didn't pitch. He only pitched 2/3 of an inning in 2019, striking out 2 batters. But we're not going to really talk about that. 2018. He had a 2.7 ERA with 115 strikeouts and 66 2/3 inning pitch. That is unreal. And a 1.05 whip. He's entering his age 32 season. And I'll let you take first cracks at it if you want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I know he didn't pitch at all last year, but he hasn't had like a bad season, I don't think, on record. He's coming from crosstown rivals, so it's good to grab someone from the Yankees because fuck them. So I'm happy about that. And I've always thought Betances was really good. I used to draft him a bunch of fantasy just for his like ratio stats. I'm really happy that the Mets have him. I don't think there's much more to be said. He really hasn't ever been a bad pitcher, so adding bullpen depth is great.
I agree. I don't know how when they made the signing, people were like, "Oh, you just signed a bust." Okay, if you signed the bust, what'd you sign him for? A $10 million guaranteed for 1 year.
Just DFA him and move on.
Exactly.
He's a reliever,
First of all,
we can deal with it.
He's been in from if I'm not mistaken, from 2017, from 2014 to 2017, I was pretty sure he was an All-Star. So that's 4 years in a row. You're taking a low risk, extremely high reward on this type of signing.
Yeah.
Why? Like the fact that nobody else jumped to get Betances. And I'm sure it was an easy decision for Betances. He doesn't have to move. He's going from
I think he grew up in
the Bronx to the Queens, from Bronx to Queens. Like it's not a big deal for him. It's a great actual contract for him with $10 million guaranteed. Yeah, all around great signing.
Just looking at his X stats, god damn, he's in like the top percentage of everything, like X slugging, X batting average. Like oh my god, his exit velocity is 84 miles an hour. Holy shit, dude. He's a monster. I love his barrel rate, too. Oh, God. Dude, that's one of the things that I really like about advanced stats. The barrel rate, I pay attention to probably more than people should. But just, like, as long as you get the barrel on the bat, like, things are mostly crazy and, like, random and weird. But if you get on the barrel, you'll usually, I feel like, do a good job.
Exactly.
So that shit I really pay attention to. But, yeah, his stats are, advanced stats are crazy. His metrics, oh, my God. I didn't realize how good they were. I knew he was a good pitcher, but like, he passed the eye test pretty easily. But
yeah, the eye test. He is the eye test.
Yeah, that's fair. But I just hope he's not hurt.
Now that
don't throw 8 pitches again, please.
Please. Now that we went through all the moves, we're gonna quickly go through the Mets depth chart. So starting pitchers, they're 1 through 5 for 2020. Whenever we play, will probably be Jacob deGrom 1, Marcus Stroman 2, Steven Matz 3. Rick Porcello 4, Michael Wacha 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Porcello or Waka, flip them around. Either way you
Exactly.
want them is about fun, I think. Yeah.
Look, I think it's a top half of the league rotation. Just if you have Degrom and Stroman alone, make it
Mhm.
a top half of Degrom alone makes it. Come on,
Yeah,
makes
I
it
mean,
in the top
yeah,
half of the
yeah,
rotation. But
yeah.
yeah, I think it's
Mhm,
it's not as good as last year, and I
mhm,
think everyone can agree. But
mhm.
it's still there. They might
Yeah,
have dropped a couple spots, but it's still there.
yeah, totally. It's it's funny, like, yeah, they're probably like a top top half of like rotation with their starting rotation, but I think they're like the third best in division. So like, it's pretty bad. I mean, like, second, probably third best. I mean,
I would
definitely
say
don't have the
third because
Nationals.
I think
Um,
I think the Nationals and I really really like the Braves starting rotation.
Yeah, I mean, between the Phillies and the Braves, I think you can go with either one. I mean, you could even have the Mets being the fourth best starting rotation without
Oh,
Syndergaard. Like, I
I
think
can't
that's
I can't
well within.
disrespect I can't disrespect Degrom like that. I just can't do
No, I understand.
it.
I totally understand, but I still think the Phillies have a really deep
I like
rotation.
Aaron Nola. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm a
Nola,
fan.
Wheeler, Arrieta. Like,
Arrieta.
I know Arrieta's older, but I still think
He had a
he's a
great
good
year last
pitcher.
year. Had a great year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
but
I totally, yeah.
still, in my opinion, top half,
Mhm.
top 15, top 15, top 12, rotation in
I mean, I'll
baseball.
take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
So
I'm happy with that.
their
No, but.
bullpen
Mhm,
listed Edwin Diaz as a closer. I think
mhm.
it starts that way. If he struggles, maybe Lugo slides in,
Yep.
Betances slides in, even maybe Familia. I doubt Familia slides in, but you never know what the Mets decide to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
But Diaz is their closer, Seth Lugo, Dylan Betances, Jerry
Mhm,
Familia, Justin Wilson as their lefty specialist, Brad Brock,
mhm.
Robert Gsellman, who I'm a fan of,
Yes.
Chasen Shreve as another lefty specialist.
Mhm,
Then you got guys like Jacob Arami and
mhm,
Steven Nogasek. They're not going to get major innings.
mhm.
But again, on paper, like last year, one of the better bullpens in baseball.
Yeah. Well, last year was pretty bad. But on paper, you're right. Definitely one of the better rotations, I think, or bullpens in baseball. I would totally agree. Yeah, Gesellman's a guy that I really like. He didn't seem to work out as a starter so far in his career. He's still, I think, 25 or 24 right now. So he's got a little bit of time. But yeah, I think they have a really deep pen. I'm pretty happy with all the guys they brought in and continue to keep. Yeah, I think the pitching staff is pretty good, but the batting is really where the Mets are gonna shine. As long as the pitching is good enough, I think we'll be okay.
I agree.
But again, tough division, so we'll see.
So we're gonna go through their position players: catcher Wilson Ramos and backup Tomas Nido.
Mhm.
I've said it before on this podcast. I'll say it again. I am not a fan of Wilson Ramos. It hurts me to watch him play defense in real life.
Mhm.
Catchers steal on him with ease, and I hate putting all the blame on the catcher. But Jacob
Mhm.
deGrom's windup is not that long.
Mhm.
Syndergaard's, on the other hand, is quite long. But
Mhm.
when a guy's throwing 100 miles per hour,
Yeah.
it shouldn't really matter how long their windup
Mhm.
is. Ramos just slow pop up, transfer
Mhm.
from the glove to the hand is slow. Doesn't have a great arm. Granted, his hitting is up there as one of the best hitting
Yeah.
catchers in all of baseball.
Right. He's a really good eye. Huge
Exactly.
fan.
I don't like him defensively. I don't think he calls a great game. I
Mhm.
think Nito actually calls a better game, but
Yeah, he
Nito is
does.
just an
Yeah.
offensive liability. So I see
Yes.
where the Mets are stuck with a really good offensive producing catcher or a really
Mhm.
good defensive producing catcher, and they
Mhm.
chose offense, and I think that is the right way to go.
Yeah, I think so too. In the major leagues now, I would agree. He can hit, and the Mets haven't had a good hitting catcher since Paulo Duca. I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy to have it. Although we're seeing Travis Dono have whatever resurgence he had last year, which upsets me to no end. But um,
Like I said, when you leave the Mets, resurgence is coming.
it's true, it's true. It's not a bad point. Yeah, so I mean, I'm happy with the catcher depth they have. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Nito's a defensive replacement. That's cool. He's been brought in a bunch. I feel like Wheeler, like, I don't know if this is true, and I could be totally speaking out of my ass, but I feel like Nito caught like exclusively,
That is true.
like
That is
Wheeler,
true. Yep.
right? I feel like that was something because I mean, I get it if a
He
defensive
also
catcher.
caught majority of Matz's starts as well.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, yep. Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy. Ramos was a decent bargain, even though they did pay a bunch. But getting a catcher who can hit is so rare. I'm happy to have him.
It really is. Like there's only I'm thinking of catchers who could hit: Real Muto,
Hmm.
Grandal,
Yeah,
Contreras,
right.
and maybe
I like Jorge Alfaro.
Omar
He's a good hitter.
Narvaez
Okay.
can hit. I guess
Yeah.
he can
Well,
hit.
who's the guy? Mitch Garver had a really good year
Mitch Garver
last
had
year,
a
but
great year in Minnesota.
yeah, yeah.
Fantastic
Well,
year.
we'll see. We'll see about him.
First base, You got Pistol Pete, the polar bear.
Yes.
The guys, I think I am not a Met fan, but again, day in and day out, I see how he works because I'm there every single day when he's home.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's a freak. He's just a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not expecting him to put up the numbers he put up in 2019.
Yeah.
You can't expect the production to stay that way, but he's going to level out somewhere near 35 to 40 home runs a year, somewhere around a I'd say around a 260, 270 batting average.
Yeah.
The guy's going to put up 100 RBIs.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I love Pete. Polar Pete, great dude. 53 home runs is his monster status. God, oh my God. Anyway, I do have concerns. For Pete, I think that he started off really hot with the average. The average came down a lot as the season went on. I think worst case scenario, and it's entirely possible that this happened. He's like a 230 hitter. He's like a 240 hitter. He's like a
Chris Davis type hitter.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that he can hit 260 going forward or anywhere even near 250. I think he looks like he's like a 220 to 240 guy. Still can rake. He can hit for power for sure. He's 25 years old. You know, we got a little bit of time. He was only 1 year in the majors. We'll see. But I do have worries about Alonso. I think Mets fans are expecting him to have like 60 home runs next year, hit like 300. And you need to temper the fuck out of the expectations because that's not happening. It's not happening. There's no way. But that's fine. Like, look, if Pete Alonso hits 40 home runs next year, hits 100 RBIs, bats 240, I'll be happy.
That's a great year. That's a fantastic year.
He a really good first baseman, absolutely. I just think that we need to temper our expectations a lot.
And they also have backup in Dom Smith, who I am actually a fan of.
Oh my God, yeah. I love Dom Smith, dude. Smith. We need to find a place for him. They have so many good bench bats. They need to find a place for some of these guys.
That's the problem.
You know?
I feel like Dom Smith, he was going to have that starting first baseman role until Pete Alonso just came up.
Yeah. I was excited for Dom, too, yeah.
He's good. He really deserves... Like, I don't want the Mets to trade him because I like to see him play.
Yeah,
he deserves to play, man. Like,
yeah, totally, totally, yeah.
Second base, I don't know why Cano's listed as second baseman. I personally,
I think he's gonna play second base.
You think so?
No,
you think so?
Yeah. Well, I mean, McNeil can play third. He can play outfield. So like he'll probably rotate it around a bunch. But I mean, they're paying Cano. I think they want to play. He played.
I don't want to disrespect Cano, but
yeah, neither do I. I mean, I love him. He's like he's a good dude. I liked him on the Yankees. He was on the Mets. Or no, he was on the Yankees the whole time. I thought he was on the Mets.
Then he was on Seattle for.
Yeah. Before this, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he hit fine when he was healthy. Not great. I mean, especially for the lineup we were in, or he was in, but he is he's like 38 now, right?
And
37?
He's
old.
I got to see him. He rehabbed in Brooklyn for, I want to say, a week straight.
Mm-hmm.
You should see how many people really like Robinson Cano.
He seems like a really genuine good guy.
We were sold out every single game at MCU Park when Robinson Cano was there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's rehabbing, right? He is out there 4 hours before the game. 4 hours. That is ridiculous. And he's a seasoned veteran in the major leagues. Like, and he's out there at a advanced A baseball game. Rehab start 4 hours before. Work ethic's definitely there. And yeah, like Cano, I don't know if I think his time is coming to an end.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not going to argue with that, but I still think he's a serviceable hitter. He can't really play defense either, but I mean, the Mets don't have a lot of that. But the Mets have like a deep second base. You know,
they do.
Jerry, Luis Guillorme, those guys are well worth. I mean, Jello I don't think played at all last year.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Yeah, it was really sad. It's like, oh, that's like pretty big offseason signing.
You picked him up in the 2019 offseason. Had a great year in Oakland in 2018.
Yeah, man,
just bugged with injury the whole year, and every time you thought he was coming back, snap of the fingers, another injury, another hamper. So but I think he's healthy this year. I think he's back to at least close to 100%. So you're gonna see him out there sometimes.
Yes.
Third base, Jeff McNeil. You gotta find a spot for this guy. The guy first of all is a utility man. He plays absolutely everywhere. Again, Jeff McNeil, Mets fans, anybody, MLB fans, he will never produce the like home run hitter numbers.
Yeah.
But he will probably consistently hit over 300 or 290.
I hope so. Yeah.
I like him. I think he's like the prototypical. Like he doesn't have the swagger. He doesn't have the like he doesn't showboat about him. He's like the prototypical like just baseball player. Like that's just who he is, and I like him.
Yeah, no, I love McNeil. Look, when I played baseball, I was a second baseman. And like I was an average second baseman. I couldn't hit for power. I'm a scrawny dude. So I love guys like that. Anytime they come up, huge fan of that. I took 12 as my number from Roberto Alomar when he played on the
Gotcha.
Mets when
Yeah.
he was a second baseman for the Mets. I'm pretty into that. I know I keep calling him second baseman. He played a lot of third last year, but I feel like he fits into second base pretty well. So I'm gonna call him that.
Yeah, that's
We'll
why
call
when
him.
I saw McNeil like not on the number one for the second base, it was a little weird to me because
Right.
I'll probably until like he continues to play third base, which he has. He's a second baseman in my head. Just that's how he
Yeah,
came up.
yeah,
So
totally.
shortstop, Ahmed Rosario.
Mhm.
I think he gets a lot of flack
Yeah,
because people think he still can't hit. I think
right.
he can hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, the guy's 24. He came up a little early, I felt like, in 2018. He had a fine season, but yeah, this year, or last year, he was just so improved in almost every category. His defense wasn't that good in 2018, but I think his defense rebounded a lot, and that's what he was supposed to be in the
Yeah,
minor leagues,
that
to be
was
a
his
really
bread
good
and
defender.
butter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he was a lot better last year at that. So I'm excited. He's coming along. He really is. It's like the only guy who can steal bases on this team too. So we could use that. So
And again, they're deep at shortstop too. I like Max Morov.
Yes.
I do like him.
Okay.
Not because I think he's gonna be an all-star. I just
Mhm.
he's like again. I love to use the word serviceable because I think there's a lot of players go under the radar who are serviceable.
Right.
MLB players. I think he could be one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's not a power hitter. He's more of that average type of guy. But again, why not? You have him on the roster. Why not? Put him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready for the MLB just yet.
Mhm.
I think another year in AAA or even AA. Put him anywhere in the minors. I think it will benefit him.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I like him. I like him
Yeah.
over Luis Guillermo. I don't like Luis Guillermo, to be honest with you.
I liked him coming up. He seems to have tapered off a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he plateaued.
I'm not out on him though. I'm not out on him though. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, the team is so deep. I don't think he'll get a lot of chances to play, unless people get hurt. So I'm not super worried about that. But yeah, I mean, Rosario's just been improving. I'm so excited to see him play. Hopefully this year, if baseball happens.
Same.
So yeah.
Left field, one of my favorite Met players, J.D. Davis. I love him. I really love him, and I think Cespedes. I know it says Dom Smith is number 2 on the depth chart. I think Cespedes will probably be number 2 on the depth chart.
Yeah, as long as he's healthy.
Just because of how much you're paying him, he's going to be number 2 on the depth chart.
Yeah,
but,
and I mean, honestly, like, if we're gonna do, like, a quick interlude on Cespedes, like, he was worth what he already gave us,
Oh, yeah,
I think.
yeah.
So, like, I'm not super upset at the value, but he's a bad contract. We need to get off the books. I think they restructured something about it.
They
maybe
did
next year or
this
something like that.
offseason because
right.
He had a workout video, and he's more in shape, so they restructured his contract.
Yeah.
But, yeah, J.D. Davis, huge fan. I think he's good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I worry that last year was a fluke. I worry, and I like him too. I just
think he has so much power.
I worry.
I think he has so much. I love power guys. I'm sorry. I like average guys too. Don't get me wrong. Like I love like a Tommy Edman who puts up average but doesn't really hit the ball hard.
I like Tommy Edman. Yeah,
but
I get
how
that.
can you not love power dudes? Like J.D. Davis
Sure.
just mashes.
Yeah, he does. And he's another guy that I think has a pretty good eye. I like him enough. I don't really want to see him starting though. If
So you would
if we
start
have to.
you would start Cespedes out there?
I probably would, but like that feels like a rotation spot, like easy rotation spot.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna work JD. We're gonna work JD Davis. We're gonna work Dom Smith. We're gonna work Cespedes. We're gonna work.
I wish
Jeff McNeil in there.
JD
We're gonna
was
work
a
everyone there.
lefty. Because then
yeah.
it would work much
Yeah.
better with the lefty righty with
True.
Cespedes and JD.
Mhm.
You
It would.
put JDs against right. You put JD against righties and Yoenis against lefties, but
Mhm.
obviously they're not. So no, they're not learning to
Dom
switch
Smith's
it
a
anytime
lefty,
soon.
right?
Dom Smith is a
So-
lefty, but he's not the greatest defensive outfielder.
Yes, that is true for sure.
He-
Well, we need to find spots
He's a
for him.
first
That's
baseman.
it.
He really
Yeah,
is.
he is.
He came up as a first baseman, and
Mhm.
just his natural position. And
Right.
it's outfield doesn't. You know what he looks like in the outfield when the Cardinals tried Matt Adams in the outfield.
Ooh, oh my god.
I don't know if it's that bad because Matt
Uh-huh.
Adams couldn't track a fly ball where Dom Smith
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
but it's that sort of feeling
Matt
that I get.
Adams. Yeah, sorry, I'm just going
Big
into
city.
daydream mode now. Yeah.
Center field, I'm gonna let you talk because I don't have an opinion
Sure.
on Brandon Nimmo. I just don't.
Okay, I love Nimmo, dude. I love him. I just need him to stay healthy. I mean, he went through. I don't remember if it was like, it was a really bad injury or something. I don't. Fuck, I don't want to say what it was because I don't remember what it was. But yeah,
While you talk, I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It was, I think it was something with like his blood or something like that. Or
Oh, I
like a really
remember.
bad
Yeah,
like
yeah,
bone
yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
or
know
maybe
what
it was
you're talking
heart
about.
issues. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I really like Nimmo. He's the world of potential, but he needs to like stay healthy and play. He's a really good defensive center fielder too. But I like Nimmo a lot. I'm very excited for what the future has to hold. And if he's like one of our weak links and like the on the team, like I guess I'm okay with it. Like we have a really good offense otherwise, and I just think he has so much potential that I'm willing to go through these harder times. Because he didn't play very well last year, or even the year before, or any year really in the MLB. So, but I think he has all the potential in the world. So I'm ready to roll with him.
So his latest injury that he had in 2019 was a neck injury that he was on the 60-day DL for.
Yeah.
He
There
he
was
has
something in
okay,
the
so he does have
offseason.
an irregular heartbeat.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that.
That there was something in the preseason where or training camp or whatever where he like couldn't play because he was
Yeah.
dealing with it, which is
So
really shitty. He's a really nice guy.
I don't know. It's not that I don't have an opinion. I like Brandon Nimmo as a person. I think he's a nice
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah,
I don't know if
he's
his.
so
I think
nice.
I hope
I love his Twitter.
he has power. He does have power.
Mhm.
I think his game translates. It definitely translates to the MLB,
Yeah,
especially today's
yeah,
MLB.
yeah.
I don't know if he's the defensive center fielder you need though.
That's entirely possible.
That's
Yeah,
why I
but
loved
look,
like. Don't get me wrong. Juan Lagares made a bunch of bonehead plays in center
yes.
field.
Well, yeah, he was just fast.
He just his problem. Lagares' problem with a lot of center fielders nowadays is tracking line drives.
Mhm.
Lagares always took the step in instead of the step back.
Mhm.
That was the problem with Lagares over and over and over again. That's why line drives flew over his head.
Mhm.
But that's correctable. I don't know if Nimmo. I don't know. I don't feel like Nimmo is a center fielder. I think he's kind of thrust into center field when he can. I think he's a corner outfielder in my opinion.
Okay.
But I can.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, that's a valid thing to take for sure. Defense is something I don't. If I can't watch all the games, it's kind of hard to judge, right? There's some metrics that track it okay, but
yeah, but
it's hard
almost
to take,
almost all
Yeah.
defensive metrics are flawed in every
Yeah,
aspect.
for sure. Yeah.
Like DRS, UZR, all of them are pretty much flawed. So I just the eye test of watching Brandon Nimmo.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Right fielder, my favorite player on the Mets. Yeah,
Yeah,
I give it to him. My favorite player, Michael Conforto. I love him. I love him. That's about
Yeah,
it.
like I think we talked about it a little before, or we mentioned maybe it was before the podcast, but I like Conforto. I think he can be better though.
Yes, I
think
agree.
he can get there. And I like him for what he is. He does scare me at sometimes that he's going to go back to when he was struggling before.
Yeah,
That's the worries me for a lot of Mets hitters, a lot of young Mets hitters. But they're young hitters, so we'll see where they end up. But he's 27, I think, too. So he's the prime of his career, and we'll hopefully he's still good. I mean, he's been good for the past 2 years, I think.
I think he gets better. I think he has room to grow.
Yeah, he needs to get. Okay, he doesn't need to get better. That sounds bad, but like I think he can be like a 270.
Yeah, I think he has. I think
35 home run hitter.
I think he has room to grow.
Easy 270 hitter with like like a high or like a low low fives.
I wonder what his barrel rate is because when I watch him, he barrels up a lot of baseballs.
Yeah, I like I said, I fucking love that shit. But yeah, let me check what it is. I feel like his barrel rate's pretty good. It was 11.9 last year, which is pretty high.
Pretty good. 12.6
in 2017 was top 9 in the league.
Yeah, I feel like it was. Watching him, you assume it's pretty high.
He does slug.
Yes,
it's true. Yeah, that's like the big thing. I want his average to come up. I really that's my thing.
Also,
and I know average isn't like everything.
Having that lefty in the lineup is so crucial.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Especially, you can put him. He's probably where did he bat last year for the Mets?
He was.
I want to say it was either 3 or 4, depending on where Pete Alonso hit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pete batted third.
I'm
pretty sure.
Okay, so it was third and fourth.
I could be wrong though, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's their entire depth chart. Once again, the Mets are, in my opinion, one of the better. I think they're the best or second best team in the NL East. They're a top 12 team in baseball, and they definitely should make the playoffs. But my grade that I'm giving the Mets for the 2020 offseason is a B+, A-, leaning more towards the A-. They only really lost Zach Wheeler. I'm not contributing the loss of Noah Syndergaard into this because you can't plan that.
Yeah.
It's not a freak injury. He's been struggling with injuries throughout his career, but to get a Tommy John is a freak injury. But they did replace Zach Wheeler with 2 serviceable back end rotation pitchers in Porcello and Waka, who could both have bounce back years, but bounce back in the terms of being a serviceable, just 4th, 5th starter. That's
Mhm.
exactly what they're looking for, and that's exactly what they got.
Mhm.
The Mets in 2016 were in 2019 were 86-76. I'm giving them a
Mhm.
5-win increase to a 91-71 record. I don't know if they can out blast the Braves, if that
Mhm.
makes sense, because the
Sure.
Braves are
Yeah, it does. It
just
does.
so powerful.
Yep.
But I think they are a number one wildcard team.
Mhm.
And if everything goes to plan, their bullpen pitches well, they're a 95 win team.
Mhm.
I love the Betances signing, and they brought the core guys back. That's
Mhm.
pretty much it. So, what is your grade that you would give the Mets?
Yeah, I think I probably hover around a B. I feel like they didn't. They they could have done more. Little signings here and there are fine. Keeping together the core, which like you said, won 80, 84, 85, whatever, 83 games last year. I think is fine. Keeping that together is good. Bringing in veterans is good. Betances is a really good signing, probably the best of the offseason. Letting Wheeler go is again fine. Would have liked to keep him because again, no salary cap, but yeah, he's probably a little bit too much. But yeah, going into this year, I have them I think as my third team in the NL East. It's such a crowded division. There are going to be 4 teams that are above 500, probably. I think the Nationals are even the worst of that, and their pitching staff is going to keep them in as long as they still stay healthy. For I think most of the year. I think the Braves are the best team in the division. I think the Phillies are really good too. They brought in a lot of good free agents last year, and it didn't mesh. I think this year it could mesh very easily. And if their starting pitching is anywhere near as some of them have been good in the past, and Wheeler really helps solidify that rotation, they could be really good. It's just tough for the Mets. I see it's possible for Alonso to take a step back and McNeil to take a step back because they were so good last year in the rookie years. And then, Conforto, we're not sure. Nimmo, we're not sure. It's entirely possible for it all to fall apart. And the Mets deal with injuries every year, especially to starting pitcher, which has already happened. So stuff like that just worries me about them. But, you're right. If everything comes together, they can be an easy 90-win team and make the playoffs for sure.
Agreed. I just think that, like, specifically now they got drawn a bad hand of cards with how amazing. Like, if you look at 1 through 4 in the NL East, it's really just
Mm-hmm.
like the Braves. I think are the consensus number one, but 2, 3, and 4 are really a toss up, depending
Yeah.
on how like certain players play. If Bryce
Mm-hmm.
Harper really breaks out next year and
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have a rough year, like not a rough year, he had an okay year in 2019, but the year that
Right.
you expect Bryce Harper to have,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, the Phillies could be up there. I think the
Yeah.
Nationals probably stick at number 3 or 4, just
Yeah,
because I don't know
losing
if they're,
Rendon,
I don't know if their
right?
lineup
That's
just, I don't know
huge.
if I don't think their lineup can carry them.
Hmm.
But
They're
other
gonna
than that,
have what's his name, Trey Turner batting like third. Like that seems bad.
yeah,
Like
he should be a
I don't know.
leadoff for number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
But once again, I appreciate you coming on. It means a lot taking the
Yeah,
time out of your day. Once again, all the socials will be down in the description. But one more time, tell everybody where they can find you.
yeah. Sure. You can find me at ESSEJTHESL SH the SL. That's my old name, but I have that as my Twitter handle. But you just search Baking Games Fantasy Sports, Baking Games Sports, Baking Games Podcast, all that stuff. You should be able to find me pretty easy.
Perfect. Once again, you guys better check him out. All links in the description. I better see followers. And if you came from this podcast, either just DM him. Came from Extra Innings podcast. Enjoyed the podcast, whatever it is. So I thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the intro in the beginning. I forgot to mention that it's a new intro. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any feedback, all feedback is welcomed. Please, if you enjoyed, follow me on Spotify, YouTube, subscribe. Hopefully, I get on Apple Podcasts by the time this one comes out. If not, that's where you'll find me. And DM me on Twitter if you have any questions or if you want to be on the show. And that'll all be in the description down below. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next one.